special presentation of ABC Sports.
ABC Sports presents live in its 29th season, the Professional Bowlers Tour. Today from Fresno, California, it's the $125,000 Fresno Open. In our first match, defending champion Marc McDowell, a two-time champion of Madison, Wisconsin, faces four-time titleist Bob Handley of Pompano Beach, Florida. The winner of that game will meet Dave Arnold of Mesa, Arizona, who's looking for his first tour victory. In the semifinal match, it's Seattle's Hugh Miller who will try to capture his fifth title today. Our tournament leader, left-hander Joe Salvemini of Oklahoma City, will then meet the semifinal winner for the championship. That's our talented field for today's Professional Bowlers Spring Tour telecast.
California raisins from the California vineyards.
And there's plenty of that sunshine where the Professional Bowlers Tour has stopped this week. They have come to the exact geographical center of the state of California. Fresno, a city in the heart of the world's greatest producing agricultural area to the tune of $2 billion off the revenue from 180 crops. Hi, I'm Chris Schenkel. Today I'm here in front of one of the many raisin vineyards. This happens to be the beautiful Engelman Vineyards in the Fresno area. And as you can see, it's being irrigated from that wonderful cool water out of the Sierra Nevada mountains. Irrigation and this hot sun is what made it all after the area was established in 1872. In September, the grapes are picked. They're then placed in the ground, allowed to dry 2 or 3 weeks from the natural sun, and voila, you have those delicious California raisins. But remember, it takes 4 pounds of Thompson grapes to make 1 pound of raisins. Okay, it's a little too warm out here right now, so let's go back to Cedar Lanes to my colleague, Nelson Burton Jr.
Thank you, Chris. From the 100-plus temperatures out there to the nice, cool setting of Cedar Lanes. The 17th year the Professional Bowlers Association has come to Cedar Lanes, and as usual, we've had just capacity crowds and tremendous scores all week long, and we expect more of that today. Now, with me in the announce booth is a player who has had great success on the tour. He's won 8 PBA titles, made the top 24 this week, and Randy Peterson, what do you expect out there in the championship round today?
Well, boy, I expect some pretty high scores. In the first match, you have your defending champion, Marc McDowell, going against KG veteran in Bob Handley. Then you have Dave Arnold, non-winner. He's going to be tough. He's bowled well all week. And then you have 2 left-handers who finished 1-2 this week. The scores are going to be high. I predict Joe Salvemini to win.
All right, he says Salvemini to win. He knows how to play the lanes. We'll show you the lane conditions that the pros played upon this week. First place, the oil is down 41 feet. It's equal oil gutter to gutter. There's no break anywhere on the lane. Nice and smooth, so you have to get what you hit, as they say. It's dry the last 19 feet of the lane, and then the right-handers can play an extreme outside line to the 1-3 if they want to, or play like Bob Handley, the big hook out to the edge back to the 1-3. For the 2 lefties in the 1-2 position, you have Hugh Miller playing right around the 3rd arrow into the 1-2 pocket, and Joe Salvemini playing a very dangerous outside line, but he led the field by 395 pins. Chris, there's a lot of money at stake, and it should be tough.
Total purse of $125,000 broken down in this manner to the 5 bowlers you'll see live here today on ABC. 1895, 755, and 4. And the defending champion, as Randy Peterson mentioned, Marc McDowell, in the brilliant red shirt, is up and will be shooting on the left lane. It's back-to-back championship rounds appearances for him because last week in Dublin he finished 2nd behind our scorekeeper today, Butch Soper. And a big bang, big strike. Always one of my favorite bowlers, Nelson, because of the way he cranks his shot. Bob Handley, now bowling out of Pompano Beach, Florida, native of Kansas City, Missouri.
One of the true power players, all wrist.
Married to a lady professional, Mary Ellen, who also has a hair salon and Pompano Beach, Florida. Bob Handley keeping things even after a frame.
Handley sets that wrist way underneath the ball, just a shoulder-high arm swing, drives hard with that pivot step. Now watch the wrist on cork at the bottom of the swing. He rolls the wrist under and straight up through it. Great lesson being learned for especially the young players. Keep the hand underneath the ball and let the wrist put the power on the ball. Handley for a double.
Well, these two professionals thus far have made it look easy. Bob Handley and Marc McDowell. Now Marc, to stay even, wants to strike here in the second frame of our first match. The winner to meet Dave Arnold, and then on to Hugh Miller, and then Joe Salvemini, our tournament leader. Tough break, but a smile from the man who's wearing a wireless mic today, Marc McDowell.
Marc McDowell with a very contemporary, modern style, five-step delivery, pronounced push away, shoulder-high swing, and a little bit of that wrist action of Bob Handley at the bottom. Keeps that arm close to his body. Gets a bad break there. He didn't knock the 10-pin down. Head pin went to the sideboard, just missed the 10.
All right. Second straight telecast this year, 9th overall. On 3 times last year, he won 2 titles in the last 2 telecasts of '89, and 5th in the other. One in teaming with Dick Weber in the Senior Touring Pro Doubles, and then won 3 matches en route to the Fresno Open here last year. Well, the '86 Rookie of the Year, University of Wisconsin man, Marc McDowell.
McDowell's got to like this shot. He just drives through that ball and just buries all 10 pins in the pit. This is a key match. The two veterans both look very sharp in the early going.
Bob Handley leaving the 3-6 and disgusted with his performance on that one.
Well, that's when we talk about the lane conditions on the Professional Bowlers Tour. The oil or conditioner placed on the lane is placed equal from left side to right side. So if you missed a little bit too much one way or another, you pay a penalty. Handley avoided the split, but still has a difficult 3-6 spare.
Bob Handley, who is a graduate of Pittsburgh State University in Kansas. Following that, he became a junior high school teacher and then onto the Pro Bowlers Tour. Very proud of his Gorillas, they're called, their nickname at Pittsburgh State. They lost in the semifinals Division IIA football last year.
And at one time, Bob was the coach of the football team.
All right. We're in the San Joaquin Valley, Fresno, California. More after this.
A kiss? Oh, not right now. You really don't want to kiss me.
Dangerous. Very dangerous.
Give me a minute, honey.
Don't let morning breath ruin a good morning. Get Scope. Scope has 2 powerful ingredients to kill 90% of the bacteria that cause morning breath.
Couldn't I hear something about a kiss?
Right here. Right now.
Kiss. It is time for a kiss.
Scope. The best thing first thing in the morning.
Hey, you. Put that kiss right here.
The rush of icy clean freshness. Now you can feel it every morning with the power of peppermint. Peppermint Scope.
At Quality, Comfort, Clarion, and Sleep Hotels, kids 18 and under stay for free. So you'll save enough money to buy them all a new pair of shoes.
Kids 18 and under stay free when you call 800-221-2222.
That's right.
Marc McDowell, who now he trails by 8 pins up in the 4th frame. As you can see, defeated Handley in the match play, 24 match games, 42 in all here at Fresno Lanes.
Patty, his wife, watching along with you. He's on the right lane. Strike up. Ooh. Could have had a 2-pin lead, but instead Bo leaves 2 pins and Not an easy shot coming up.
And a little bit confused about that shot. He had good loft on the ball, and he expected the ball to carry, and he needs to get the ball over next to the 4-pin, slide it into the 10, a very difficult split.
All-out effort by Marc McDowell, the 28-year-old, whom earlier we asked him about a good luck charm he had received.
Well, one of the scorekeepers, Pam Hilliard, gave me this little 4-leaf clover keychain for good luck. And being Irish, you know, I put it on my belt loop, and it really did wonders for me last night, so hopefully I can put it to good use again today.
Oh, after the Open, he's back for the strike. 5th frame, first game. McDowell against Handley. Winner to meet Dave Arnold.
Bob Handley with that true lateral attack on the pocket. He is the first really, really big hook ball player on the Professional Bowlers Tour.
Nope.
And he got a good shot at the break point of his ball. That was about 45 feet down the lane. It was on the second board, ends up on the 18th board. That's the 1-3 pocket. 42 boards being side to side. Now here you see the trajectory. Great shot there. He starts it over the second arrow out to about the third board. 45 feet, makes the terrific break, and there you see the solid 10 also, the 6-pin flying around the 10. A lot of stories told in that particular shot.
So Bob Handley keeps marking. Spare in the 5th frame. 22-pin lead now over to the left side.
Bob also carries a good luck charm. He carries a 75th Masonic medal in memory of his father, who was his biggest fan, who passed away of cancer in 1981, as McDowell contemplates the action, trailing by 22.
That was the year that Bob won his first title, ARC Alameda, 81. The mixing action for the fellow that in 82 won Greater Miami, followed by Houston in 83, Greater Hartford. In 87, that was Bob's last professional victory. Now McDowell, strike up, 6th frame. So 6-10, Bo.
Struggling Chris on the right-hand lane. He has hit up the 10-pin in the 2nd frame, the 4-10 split in the 4th. Once again, he drifts high, avoiding the split, leaving the 6-10 spare. But he must, as you see this from the down the lane shot, the trajectory and the angle he's playing, he must get zeroed in on this right-hand lane as Bob Handley looks very tough. Marc McDowell for the spare. He'll trail by 22.
West Texas State bowler. Great college perennial at that particular campus. Great teams.
Well, he has an interesting career. He came on University of Wisconsin as a walk-on football player and made the football team. Back to behind Kevin Rohde, who was an All-American at that time. Transferred to the University of Wisconsin at lacrosse, and then to West Texas State, which offered him a scholarship to finish his college and his bowling career there.
So Mark's high hit, leaving him the 6-10 for the second time.
Mark a little anxious, a power strength player, and he just has to wait for that ball a little bit longer in his swing so it goes to the right. When you don't wait for it and you jump on it at just a pinch early, you have a tendency to pull the ball and it goes to the left.
Nice and smooth. Rookie of the year, 1986. The Fresno Agricultural Compound, just north of Cal State at Fresno. You'll see it coming up next.
Hi. Take your feet off the table. Now, here's your bag of Eagle potato chips. Here's my bag of Eagle potato chips. Now, we're going to open them. Not like an animal. Watch me. I open it easily. I remove one chip. Now, I taste it. Mmm. Mmm. The quintessence of taste and crunchiness. Go ahead.
Eagle potato chips. Everyone loves them.
My athlete's foot kept flaring up. I'd put it out, and it'd just flare up again. Then my doctor told me about Tinactin. It cures recurring athlete's foot. Use it regularly? and it'll keep the fire from coming back.
Tinactin puts the fire out for good.
Nolan Ryan looks in for the sign. Now he goes into the motion, and here comes the pitch.
The big metal shaver. It makes me look good every time out.
Wow, what a pitch. Nolan's never looked better.
Top female gymnasts go for the gold at the U.S. Olympic Cup live. Plus the finals of the Coca-Cola Coupe de Hoop. It's all next on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Interesting entertainment here on ABC following our Professional Bowlers Tour telecast from Fresno. We're live. This is Bob Handley in our first game, leading by 24, can increase it to 34. And again, left with the 10 pin on the right lane. And as with the last shot, comes walking back wondering what happened. Bob Handley, who was born in Kansas City, now 38 years old, member of the PBA for 12 years, and he has 4 titles. Always interesting to watch his style. So, very fine spare, and he continues to lead as we go to Bo Burton.
Thank you, Chris. Dave Arnold, you have to play one of these power players in the next match, and yet you're a down and in player. Are you going to change your tactics on the lanes in any way?
No, I'm going to play him the same way I played when the oil was fresh in the morning, and that was around the 3rd arrow. Hopefully the strategy will work today.
You feel that both lanes are about the same from that angle?
Yeah, I think they're pretty even.
All right, Chris. He'll be tough in the next match.
He will. With an 8-pin, that shot coming in the 8th frame for Bob Handley, whose best year was in 1985. He didn't even have a victory that year, yet earned $87,000. Thus far this year, $24,000. Last year, $67,000. Real professional. Leads by 23. Bob Handley, our first match. In 2 weeks, we'll be at Fairlane Squaw Peak in Phoenix, Arizona for the finals of another great event, Bo, as we see a shot of Chris Warren, who leads in money earned thus far.
Harry Sullins, the defending champion. Now, key frame for Marc McDowell, right-hand lane.
Some days, Bo.
You got to just say unlucky on that particular shot. He had the same thing happen the second frame. He hits light in the pocket, just rips the 5 out. The head pin comes sailing back across, but doesn't take out the 10. Now, in this particular shot, he gets a little extra off, gives it room. Now, watch the action of the head pin as it comes flying back across. There goes the head pin, comes back across, almost knocks out the 10. Marc McDowell roots for it, not to be. But he's still in the match because he's zeroed on both lanes. He has a potential 203 game, Handley going at a 207 pace, so it's still up for grabs.
Marc McDowell, who thus far this year has earned $37,290, second last week to our very own scorekeeper, Butch Soper.
Butch Soper winning last week in Dublin, California. Now, key shot as you watch Mark's wife rooting him on, Patty, saying, okay, Mark, 9th frame, you got a potential 203. Put some pressure on Handley, but you must get going right now.
That's rubbing that 4-leaf clover good luck charm.
Well, last night, McDowell got a terrific break as Figueroa opened in the 10th frame on the very last ball, leaving a 5-10 split to allow McDowell into the championship round. He needs to rub it a little bit harder against this guy, a very tough, experienced Handley, 9th frame.
Oh, that right lane, Bo, has really bothered Bob today.
Both players struggling on the right-hand lane, Chris, and one thing I may put an order in for is one of those 4-leaf clovers. Handley, not the type of player to give away a match, and here right in the critical situation, a big open frame split, bring this match right down to the 10th frame.
In frames like that, you can never recover from it in professional bowling. You can in golf, you can in almost any other sport. But in bowling, no way.
You're right, Chris, and the importance of that basically takes Handley's lead from 24 pins down to just 8 pins. Handley, no matter what he does right now in the 10th frame, cannot shut out McDowell. Both players will determine their final fate in this match.
Leaving a 2-pin on the left lane.
This sets up the possibility of a tie match with Handley. The best he can shoot is 191. That put McDowell in a position where he needs at least one strike and a good count to win. One strike and a medium count, we could have a tie match.
The man who will meet the winner is still warming up, Dave Arnold. Need to spare on that spare shot, believe me. Hugh Miller now is warming up. He's seated number 2 and be in that battle for the semifinal spot and the title spot.
Bob Handley with a strike here on his 11th frame shot would end up with 199 and set the stage for Marc McDowell to determine his own fate. A very strong 191. Handley had solid 10-pin wraps in 5th and 7th frames that he could have iced it up, but now McDowell with a strike, 9 spare would win. Anything less, he loses.
And that's anything less.
That's for sure. He thought he had a great shot, and he leaves the swishing 7-10 split to lose. It'll be Dave Arnold against Bob Handley.
ABC Sports presentation of the Professional Bowlers Spring Tour will be back after these messages and a word from our local ABC station.
Yo, boy, I'm cruising to the beat of a different drummer.
You might have heard there's some new guys delivering pizza. You could take a chance or call Domino's Pizza. We'll be there in 30 minutes or less for a hot, fresh pizza delivered right to your door. Who are you going to call?
It's time for Domino's Pizza.
Now save $10 on a new subscription to Showtime or the Movie Channel. Check it out. Details are on the Domino's Pizza box, so call now.
Phil and Laura Gordon, married, 1 child.
Frosted Flakes, Dad?
Oh, that's a kid's cereal, honey.
Yeah. How about some all-brand?
Publicly, they claim Kellogg's Frosted Flakes is just a kid's cereal, but these films tell a different story. Experts believe they loved those sweet, crunchy flakes as kids and just never got over them.
I forgot my lunch. What's going on? Nothing. Here, we're fine.
All right.
Oh, my gosh.
It's okay.
Why hide it? Frosted Flakes have the taste adults have grown to love. They're great! Tonight, the stakes are stupendous when all the biggest Jeopardy winners battle each other for the big bucks. Watch the Super Jeopardy Super Bowl, followed by Monopoly, tonight.
On the next MASH.
Go run the place.
Run a saloon. What an idea.
The gang takes over Rosie's bar.
Water down the drain.
No wonder the olives have barnacles on them.
You've got to keep prices from getting high.
Has the same effect on the customers.
Tricks of the trade.
Do you bribe a military policeman?
What bribe? Free enterprise. He drinks free, I keep my enterprise.
Tonight at 11:30 here on 27 WHTF.
With more interior room and cargo capacity than a compact Nissan, Toyota, Chevy S10, or Ford Ranger, the mid-size Dodge Dakota Club Cab leaves the competition flat. Japanese or American. A sizable advantage, no matter how you stack them.
Now get up to $2,000 cash back on selected trucks. WHTM TV 27, Harrisburg.
The Professional Bowlers Spring Tour, brought to you by Eagle Snacks. Eagle Snacks, everyone loves them. And by the Upjohn Company. If you're concerned about hair loss, see your doctor.
Okay, we're back again at Cedar Lanes, the San Joaquin Valley, Fresno. First match over, Bob Handley, 191. Marc McDowell's disappointing, 171. Bob with 5 strikes en route to victory. Well, a little illusion here at the end of the lane. Actually, there are 40 lanes here, but with that great painting and the style, Bo, looks like we have another 100.
That's right, Chris. Just as almost a reflection as we take a look at the Budweiser points for the year. First place 125 this week, second 100, and on the line to 60.
And there's a big pot at the end, 25,000 to the overall winner. And Chris Warren of Dallas, who's getting some dental work, but he'll be back on the tour very soon, followed closely, only 2 points separating Chris Warren and Brian Voss. So that is an interesting battle. We'll keep you informed. Each of our telecasts will be back on ABC 2 weeks from today, Phoenix.
And the Budweiser points wind up July 28th in Oklahoma City.
All right. 191, 171 victor, Bob Handley. Letting his presence be known. Dave Arnold immediately. Here's Dave. Big, tall, lean right-hander, 6'3", 165 pounds. Born in Los Angeles, but bowls out of Mesa, Arizona. A 2-pin.
Seemed very confident over there on the side when I was interviewing him, Chris, as you see his form. Just a textbook style, 4-step delivery, push away nice and smooth, shoulder high, and hits the line very solidly. Look at how steady his head is as he comes through the shot. Good follow through. The result was a 4-pin, but an excellent shot to start with.
Good concentration for the 4. Dave mentioned that he bowled here in a junior tournament, big scratch tournament, and finished 9th and 2nd. And this was his 3rd time as a full-fledged professional. So he's not unfamiliar with the establishment, Bo.
That's sure, Chris. And this West Coast has a wonderful junior masters program where kids from all over the state can bowl and get some experience. As you see up the lane shot, the angle of Dave Arnold, inside line.
High hit, breaking up the split, leaving only the 3.
Dave Arnold, who is kind of a low-profile player out here, is a very cerebral player. You see him drifting high, breaks up the 3-10 split, leaving only the 3-pin. But he's a very tough match game player, has a good match game face. Get him close to the 10th frame, he can perform.
Second television of 1990. He was 4th earlier this year, you may recall, as we televised the Greater Hartford Open from Windsor Locks. Now Bob Handley, whose last victory was at the Greater Hartford in 1987.
This is a key lane, only 1 strike in the first match in the right-hand lane.
Big break. Earlier, we asked Bob to tell us the reason for his success on tour this year.
Well, the key to my success is trying to learn something every week through the years, and I've learned some weeks to cut my hook down, other weeks to try to hook it more, other weeks changing balls, changing angles, and the experience just pays off, and I'm able to cash almost every week now, so that's the key to my success.
And, Bo, speaking of cash, as Bob left 3-6-10, what do they figure they need to meet expenses out on the tour as professionals per week?
That's a good question, Chris. Of course, it depends on your lifestyle. If you have somewhat a flamboyant lifestyle, like, let's say the Billy Hardwick used to have, costs a little bit more. But I'd say a player can get by with total expenses around $800. And if he plays, let's say, 35 tournaments, you're looking at $28,000 to break even on the tour.
And that's sharing a room with someone, right?
Usually they share a room most of the time. The best way to go is to get a good traveling companion, drive the tour, work at it, and I think in a way it really helps to be single out here because you're away from home a lot of the time.
Right. Third frame, spare up. Oh, yes. That was a picture. Picture-like strike. Dave Arnold, whom we ask what it would take for him to win. Here's his answer.
For the time I've been out here, I've been learning. I keep learning, and I think I just need to be real aggressive and make good shots, and that'll take me to the winner's circle eventually. Hopefully it'll be there today.
Oh, that one's sliding by, leaving the 2-4, the man that has a fourth, 2 fifths, and a second. And the second was at Austin, as we look at his mom, who's here to cheer him on. He's the mother of 3 boys, Dave having 2 brothers.
And with the spare, he would trail by just 8 pins.
Okay. We're approaching halfway point of our second game. More of it after this.
They weren't expecting a 70-year-old coach, that's for sure. But I held my own.
All right, come on.
They never even saw how scared I was. I wouldn't have tried for this job if it hadn't been for AARP. They've got a program that convinces employers that it's smart to hire people like me. I'm not old. People are people. Some of us have just had a little more practice. That's all.
AARP, making a difference. This hair is brought to you as a reminder. A reminder that if you're losing yours, you should see your doctor. Because once your hair goes away, it doesn't come back by itself. Doctors can treat hair loss successfully. And the earlier you see a doctor, the better. For your hair, see your doctor or call this number for more information. Quick, like a bunny.
Bowling's best roll into Arizona for some hot fun in the desert sun. It's the Fairlanes Phoenix Classic in 2 weeks on ABC Sports.
Cedar Lanes, the proprietor on the right, Spalding Wathen, and his daughter, Shelley Cox, is the general manager. Father-daughter combination, and very successful, very hospitable. Bob Handley now, 4th frame. And it's a 2-pin on the right lane for Bob. If you just joined us, Bob Handley went against Marc McDowell in the first game and defeated Marc 191 to 171. Marc leaving with a check for $4,500, finishing 5th. All right. Now let's go to my colleague, Nelson Burton.
Thank you, Chris. The man in the semifinal match, left-hander Hugh Miller. Hugh, you see the right-hander struggling, and yet you're on the left side. Is there anything you can learn by their shot?
Well, not really. So far, the high scores haven't materialized. That may change my strategy just a tad. Try and keep the ball straight on line, in play, stay away from big open frames, and hopefully win the match.
Sounds like a very positive attitude. Good luck, Hugh.
Hugh Miller, meet the winner of this game. And that was a 5th frame strike. Bob Handley. Dave Arnold is in good position now. He has a strike in the 5th. He'll be shooting in the 6th and can take a 3-pin lead with a strike on the right lane. Okay, a little correction there. A strike for Dave Arnold in the 5th, and it's Handley that still leads by 7. Look at that shot.
See the line of Arnold playing the inside line on the right-hand lane, driving all 10 pins in the pit. And he's the only player that's been consistent so far on the right-hand lane. And something we haven't seen in a while, Chris, is a player playing one lane, say the inside line, like Arnold is on 24, and maybe playing the outside line on 23. And let's see if Arnold is sharp enough to make that move.
Almost took a 3-pin lead, but left the 10-pin.
Brother Craig, a little bit disappointed where his David could have taken the lead with a double there in the 6th frame. But the positive side of that is he's in the pocket on both lanes. In a match game play, you feel confident standing out there on the approach with your game when you know you can throw the ball in the pocket. And that's what Arnold has right now.
So another spare here in our second match for Dave Arnold.
Bob Handley says if there's any one problem he has, it's concentration. I think some of it emanates from him moving his head so much right at the pivot point and the point of release. You watch his head, it bounces up and down. It's hard to keep your eyes on your spot. See him pull up real hard there. Sometimes it's hard to keep your eyes on the target.
When Bob Handley cranks it up and strikes like here, it's a beautiful sight and sound of bowling.
A lot of natural abilities. You watch his footwork and watch his right leg. He kicks it high in the air and then brings it all the way around. 1981, Hartford, Connecticut. He had the match well in hand and fouled with that right foot, the trailing foot. Kind of an unusual style, but it works for Handley, who can extend his lead to 27 with a strike here in the 7th.
Bob Handley leaving a 2-8-10. What can one say, Bo?
Chris, you know, just observing, when we were in Las Vegas a couple of weeks ago for 2 telecasts, and once again here in Fresno, it seems like when we get in these low humidity situations, very hot outside, close to 100 degrees, the oil carries down the lane, and the players have trouble finding the pocket. Once again, we're seeing that here today.
Okay. Okay, we're in our second match. More, but first this.
There's no dashboard light to warn you. No dipstick to check. Yet when warned, they could cause your car to lose control and braking. Don't find out your shocks and struts are worn by accident. Get your shocks and struts inspected at your Monroe retailer soon. Monroe, your safety could depend on it.
How to make good old-fashioned iced tea. First, put the kettle on the flame. While you're waiting, bag your pot. Watch the telly. Check the kettle. Back your flat. Ring up your brother. Check the kettle.
Now there's a faster way to make fresh brewed iced tea. The Iced Tea Pot by Mr. Coffee makes 2 quarts of refreshing iced tea in less time than it takes to boil water.
Walk your feet. Come back. Check the kettle.
The Iced Tea Pot by Mr. Coffee. The modern way to make old-fashioned iced tea.
Top female gymnasts go for the gold at the U.S. Olympic Cup live. Plus the finals of the Coca-Cola Coupe de Hoop. It's all next on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Dave Arnold trying for a 1-2-10. Oh, yeah. As ugly as it looks, well, it's beautiful when you can convert it.
Well, great shot. He gets the ball to left the headpin, drives the headpin in the sideboard, taking out the 10. But once again, Chris, we talk about the oil carrying down the lane. We said the oil was applied 26 feet, dragged down to 41. Now the bowling balls, the low humidity and the heat are taking that ball down, that oil down to about 50 feet, making it very demanding.
Well, Bob Handley. 8-frame strike following an open. And most welcome, because a 2-pin lead can increase it to 12. While we were away, we're running behind our allotted time schedule. Now watch this. 7 goes.
And the 10. The power of Handley paying dividends as the head pin rolls around, takes out 2 pins, puts him in a position to extend his lead in the 9th frame to 12.
And he is left to 2. A moment ago I mentioned what seems to be occasionally a familiar phrase, while we were away, because we're running behind our time allotment, a lot of spares. Our friend Dave Arnold made a strike before he was hit with that 1-2-10, which he converted. So that brings you up to date with a spare now. Bob Handley. Dave Arnold is back up. He trails by 2 pins. Strike.
For Dave Arnold, the first really good break in the match. Trips the 4-pin here in the 9th frame. If he can strike in the 10th and 11th frames, he can shut out Bob Handley. Possible 219 for Arnold. Handley, the best he can do is 211. And Dave Arnold, by being the higher finisher in the 42-game format, picked to finish on this left-hand lane. So it should be his favorite lane. Now's the time to perform.
Easily beat the 25-second time allotted to get the shot off.
Unfortunately, the pins went flying out just as quickly as the 6-pin failed to take out a 10 in a crucial situation. Dave Arnold, the best he can do is 199, opens the door for Handley to sneak in with a 200 or a 201 game. Still up for grabs. Pin count, very important for Dave Arnold here. It will force Handley to make 2 good shots to win the match. If he'd happen to get a 6 or a 7 count, Handley could have a bad shot, convert the spare, throw a decent count, and still win as he contemplates the score. A little rosin in the right hand to keep the perspiration down. Now Arnold, the best he can do, 199. Well, slides by the head pin, 1, 2, 4, inning with a 196. Now Handley can throw a not so good of shot, if you want to say, and still win the match. Before, you would have forced Handley to at least strike on 1 or 2 balls. See Arnold sliding by. Handley set. A strike would lock it up.
Bob Handley now is 1-2. Beating Marc McDowell in the first 191 to 171. So next game, right-hander against left-hander Hugh Miller. Watch this reaction.
His Sunday ball. You see that wrist roll around the ball. You see those eyes widen up. He knows he's got as much as he can get on the ball. Just saws the 5-pin out. He just needs 6 pins on 2 shots. Piece of cake for Handley. He'll meet Hugh Miller in the semifinal.
Than enough as we have a winner. Give you the final score when we return. We're in Fresno. Time now for Nelson Burton's bowling tip of the week. It'll be Miller and Handley, but now the tip by Bo.
I've seen a lot of beginners and amateurs with their hand in the improper position throughout their arm swing and release. Basically, they have their thumb underneath the bowling ball and their fingers on top. Let's look at one of those shots, and I'll show you how ineffective it is. As I come to the foul line, my thumb's underneath the bowling ball, my fingers are on top of the ball. The ball is actually rotating backwards towards me, an ineffective roll. It's fighting against the lane surface. Then, as it enters near the pocket, it tries to flip over. It's almost like rolling a bowling ball with just 1 revolution. Very ineffective. Now here's the proper way. Instead of keeping that thumb at 6 o'clock and the fingers up here at 12, rotate those fingers underneath the bowling ball. Hold that ball in the palm of your hand and lift that ball at the point of release. Watch this. That's it. Don't let that thumb get underneath the bowling ball. Get those fingers underneath that bowling ball and lift right up through it, and you'll have a powerful roll.
ABC Sports brings you the ultimate bowling home video.
Now, let's get on with the action.
Learn how to fix your problems the right way. Improve your game strategy. And practice smarter. It's Bo Burton's instructional video, Score More. Just $24.98 plus $3 shipping. Call 1-800-4ABC-VCR.
Ray, step up to the mic. The toughest opponent I've ever run up against. How about you, Steve? Step up to the mic. kept me on my toes the whole time.
It took some fancy footwork, but I did.
They cured their athlete's foot by stepping up to the mic. Micotin. Only Micotin cures athlete's foot with miconazole. See how it cures while it cools? Nothing's more effective. So step up to the mic.
Winning feels great, right down to my toes.
Step up to the cure. Step up to the mic. Micotin.
Happy 4th, Buds and Budettes. Well, we're halfway through Bud Summer, which means it's time for our halftime extravaganza. Let's do it. Right now, you can get your own genuine Bud wrap. Whoa! Look for displays when you buy Budweiser. Whoa! And Bud Light. And Bud Light. And you can win a Bud label swimming pool. Whoa! Bud Summer keeps on rolling.
Nice wrap.
Okay, so I got the job. I'm hosting the All-Star Pro Sports Awards show Monday night on ABC, and it's a live show. My family's going to be watching, Ma. Don't worry, I won't do any tumbling.
Bob Handley has won his second match. This one, 210 to 196. Bo and I are going to be joined for this next game, a lefty against a righty, by great champion from California, Randy Peterson.
Chris, it's just a pleasure to be up here with you and Bo, and I get to see what goes on when you guys are up here and I'm down there.
Okay, well, we hope you enjoy it. Bo, quite a field here this week at Cedar Lanes.
You're right, Chris, and obviously it's a very tough match. It looks like we have a potential left-handed winner, and, you know, we have another couple of stops coming up where we have some more possible winners there as Harold Sullins tries to defend his title in Phoenix, and is down to a new one for ABC television in El Paso, Texas.
And, of course, Phoenix is 2 weeks from today. The pros go to Riverside on their own for another championship, and here's the field.
In 6th place, Doug Kent just missing out. Then Wiseman. Figueroa opened in the 10th frame just to miss out. Romick, another top-looking player. Don Moser. Amuleto Monticelli's little brother, Rodolfo, getting some money. Harold Sullins defends his title in Phoenix 2 weeks from now. Curtis Odom, then our guest announcer, Peterson. Norm Duke, Dave Traber, 17th. Bob Benoit, About, 19th place. Oaks, who filled in for Mark Baker, had to drop out. Watch this young little player. Olenkowski looks very good. Kemp, easily in 23rd. Schlegel, 24th, the veteran. And Mark Baker, who dropped out with back problem, replaced by Oaks, finished 25th, Chris.
We're in Fresno, but coming up next on ABC's Wide World of Sports, it's the U.S. Olympic Cup. The world's top female gymnasts compete for the gold. Plus, basketball's playground biggest event, the finals of the Coca-Cola Coupe de Hoop. That's all next. ABC Sports. All right. I know Randy Peterson has played 3-on-3 playground. I know Bo has. I know I have. It's exciting.
And that follows us. It'll be interesting to see the basketball hoop players.
Bob Handley. Another powerful strike. 2 victories. Randy?
You know, it's interesting that the big hook of Bob Handley is playing outside as opposed to the inside line where the crankers usually play.
And here's a down and in player, a non-cranker, playing the inside line, as he said, Hugh Miller.
Delightful guy from Seattle, 33 years old, has had an interesting career. He has a lot of interest, too, whether it's sailing, ranching, you name it, he does it.
Just an ideal style and a really improved arm swing for Hugh Miller. See how he keeps it inside all the way through a swing, and that is the best I've ever seen him roll the ball. Usually he has a little bit over the top or a bounce in the back of his swing, gets the positive result as he saws the 5.
Oh, big double for our first of 2 left-handers today. Our tournament leader, Joe Salvemini, warming off to right, also left-hander. And if you just joined us, Bob Handley has won 2 matches, 191 to 171 over McDowell, and just a few minutes ago over Dave Arnold, 210, 196. All even after 2 frames.
I pose this to our guest commentator, Randy Peterson. Randy, if you're a right-hander, Bob Handley, you've won 2 matches, you're loose, but struggling a little bit. Do you feel any different bowling against a left-handed player? I always hated it.
Well, I think a lot of it depends on the kind of shot he has and how well he's performing. It looks like he's going to throw a lot of strikes. And, you know, I think Bob, after winning 2 matches, I think he's finding out where the ball is moving around to, and I think he's making the right moves. I think he's going to bowl well.
high hit, 3-6-10.
And I agree with Randy. It looks a little bit more difficult on the right side because of the oil moving around or carrying down. As you see the roll of the ball of Bob Handley as he drifts a little bit high, leaving the 3-6-10 spare. Not that easy, but Handley should handle it fairly easily as he changes his style for his spare shots, holds the ball much lower, flattens the shot out. Perfectly straight shot, the best way to do it. Accuracy is all is necessary on spares.
Okay. We're in the heart of the San Joaquin Valley. Oh, how fertile. Does it produce a lot of goodies. Hugh Miller of Seattle. The 10.
Miller looks so disciplined. I've never seen him hold his follow-through as well and keep his swing inside out. As you see the pin action, head pin going the sideboard, taking out the 6 and 5. Does not quite take out the 10, but once again, a nice shot for Hugh Miller.
Earlier, we had a chance to ask Hugh what he does for relaxation the off-season.
Well, I have a lot of relatives over in the Great Falls, Montana area, and I especially enjoy going over there in the late summer and early fall, help a little with the farm work, do a little fishing and maybe some hunting, and I just enjoy the outdoors, and it really helps me get away from the tough grind on the tour.
Nice shot. That's right. He has his grandmother, Stella Urquhart, a big spread right on the Missouri River outside of Great Falls. We'll be back.
Hello. Ed and I are here at the Bull Ring because it seems like the perfect place to introduce our delicious new Bartles & James Red Sangria Cooler. As you can see, people are excited about this festive blend of red wine with the flavor of oranges, lemons, and limes. Well, it reminds me this would be a good time for us to take our seats. Please try our new red sangria this summer, and gracias for your support.
Your wood trim is going. Your paint is why. Because most premium paints aren't formulated to stop moisture damage. And before you know it, your wood trim is gone. You need Rust-Oleum Wood Saver Trim Paint. Formulated with Teflon and other ingredients, it forms a superior barrier to resist moisture. So don't wait. Replace your paint. Or you could replace your wood.
The gold rush goes on. Boxing, cycling, and men's gymnastics take center stage as the U.S. Olympic Cup continues tomorrow on ABC Sports.
So don't forget boxing right here on ABC tomorrow. Right now it's bowling, live coverage, Cedar Lanes, Fresno, Bob Handley. Spare up shooting in the fourth. It's his third game, trailing by 2 pins. All right, a little crossover, and we cross down to Bo Burton.
Thank you, Chris. Our tournament leader, Joe Salvemini. Joe, the right-hander Handley struggling a little bit, and Hugh Miller, the lefty, looks real good out there. Does it make any difference to you whether you bowl a right-hander or a left-hander?
No, it really doesn't. I'm just happy to be here. I bowled real good this week, and if I bowl my own game, it doesn't matter who I bowl. They're both capable of bowling big scores at any time. They're both great players, and if I beat either one of them, it'll be a treat.
All right, well put. He led by 395 pins, Chris. He should be tough in the final.
And Bob Handley takes an 8-pin lead now, Randy, so it's a seesaw battle.
Well, Chris, Bob is having trouble in the right lane. He moved in towards the center of the lane in his last shot and went Brooklyn. It's going to be interesting to see what happens from here on out.
And now Hugh Miller, strike up. So now the left-hander leads by 2 pins one more time. For Hugh, it's his first game today. Finishing second overall in the field, starting earlier in the week.
Well, Hugh Miller looks just so tough. He has the right line, has the chance to extend his lead to 12 pins. 6th frame. This is the type of action we expected to start. Good scoring.
Hugh Miller. Now, gauntlet is passed to Bob Handley with the double up. Can cut Hugh's lead to 2 pins with a strike here. I hit 610.
Pose this question to Randy Peterson. Randy, we know that Handley has an idea what he wants to do on the right-hand lane, but he just can't figure it out. Is this a time to take a chance and move the deep inside line, as you see his attempt right here?
Well, I think he's been gradually moving left. He had a hang spot from outside the first arrow. The ball just didn't want to bite, so he's chose to move in.
And we've seen that hang spot a couple of times. Last time in the senior doubles in Las Vegas.
What causes it, Bo?
Well, it seems like, and once again we go back to the warm temperatures out here on the West Coast. It was over 100 degrees yesterday here in Fresno. As we recall, we had 109 in Vegas 2 weeks ago. What happens is the oil or conditioner gets carried down the lane by the ball, and it carries it down to the break point. And that's what the players call a hang spot. As you see Handley Handley taking some stuff off the bowling ball. And basically what this is off the belt from the back of the machine.
How much time are you allowed to do this, Bo?
I imagine he needs as long as he needs. He's not using the right thing. He actually needs some sort of cleaner to take that off. That's a polyurethane bowling ball, and that's slightly embedded in the pores of a bowling ball, and it's just difficult to get out. Now, it really doesn't make any difference to the roll of the ball unless it's where the ball tracks, and that's just outside the thumb and fingers, so shouldn't make any difference to Handley.
No penalty, of course.
Handley with a good attempt. He's really had no problem on the left-hand lane, lane 23. Been around the pocket all day long except when he pulls a shot. Once again, he hits light, drives the 5 over into the 7 zone. Doesn't get the break in with a conversion here. He'll trail by 15.
Okay, this is a semi-final match. Fresno with a growing artistic community. A great example of Art Deco is the Tower Theater. The architect Charles Lee, famous for his theaters throughout the United States. This one built in 1939.
High nutrition cereals. Totally nutritious and usually totally dull. Unless it's Kellogg's Just Right. 100% nutrition with whole grain oats plus 3 other grains instead of just 1. Just Right. 100% nutrition with raisins, almonds, dates. If your high nutrition cereal leaves you totally flat, just taste Just Right. 100% nutritious, 100% delicious.
Hello and welcome to Wide World of Golf.
What is the Wide World of Golf? It's a brand new concept in entertainment and instruction, a golf video magazine. Each issue of the Wide World of Golf includes features on instruction, personalities, equipment, resorts, everything about golf. All for less than $17 per issue. You can cancel anytime for a refund of the remaining portion of your subscription. So call 1-800-321-1400 today to join the Wide World of Golf. Bowling's best roll into Arizona for some hot fun in the desert sun. It's the Fairlanes Phoenix Classic in 2 weeks on ABC Sports.
There's a shot by Bob Handley, who really needed a strike because his opponent, Hugh Miller, has been stringing them. He now has 4. While we're away running behind our time schedule, Hugh doubled 7th and 8th frames.
Hugh Miller going at a 249 pace, Bob Handley a possible 244. And Randy Peterson, it looks like there's a tremendous difference in the scoreability of the left side of the lane compared to the right. Did you figure that coming on the air today?
No, I did not. You know, I figured that they would be pretty close right to left, but to me, it looks like the right side's broken down a whole lot more than the left side.
And Bob Handley's finest shot in a crucial situation. It was an absolute must situation. He's given himself a chance to win the match if Hugh Miller just falters a little bit here in the late going, the 9th and 10th frames.
Happy with that.
You bet. And Randy Peterson, you've always been a good closer. I remember in Miami 2 years ago when you came up in the 9th and 10th frames and just put everybody away. As you see a little pull shot by Hugh Miller. What goes through your mind as a good closer? Now, Hugh Miller didn't on that shot. What would you have been thinking?
Well, I think that the less thinking you do, the better. I think you just got to get up there and be aggressive and just let it go. Get it out of your hand.
Good advice. Now as we come down to the 10th frame, Hugh Miller needs a fill of 17 pins. That's a mark of any type in the 10th and a 17 count. Strike 7 would win it all. Assure him at least 245. The best Handley can do is 244.
Oh, rather convincing.
Little tip from Randy Peterson. Hugh Miller, looking at the scoreboard on the side, kept that swing inside, and that's one of the key things under pressure. A player wants to pull it high, let that swing go over the top or bounce out. Not to be for Hugh Miller as he just slams 10 in the pit, needs 7 pins on 2 balls, no problem, and he'll meet Salvemini for all left-hander final.
Crowd bothered the crowd a lot more than it did Hugh Miller. Don't have the final score, but Hugh Miller has stepped in. Semifinal game he has won. ABC Sports presentation of Professional Bowlers Spring Tour. We'll be back after these messages and a word from our local ABC stations.
A kiss? Oh, not right now. You really don't want to kiss me.
Dangerous. Very dangerous. Give me a minute, honey. Don't let morning breath ruin a good morning. Get Scope. Scope has 2 powerful ingredients to kill 90% of the bacteria that cause morning breath.
Didn't I hear something about a kiss?
Right here. Right now.
Kiss. It is time for a kiss.
Scope. The best thing first thing in the morning.
Hey, you. Put that kiss right here.
The rush of icy clean freshness. Now you can feel it every morning with the power of peppermint. Peppermint Scope.
At Quality, Comfort, Clarion, and Sleep Hotels, kids 18 and under stay for free. So you'll save enough money to buy them all a new pair of shoes.
Kids 18 and under stay free when you call 800-221-2222.
Sunday, Kirstie Alley, Ricardo Montalban, Leonard Nimoy, and William Shatner, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan.
Your weekend may be in full swing, but the news doesn't take time off. Stay on top of the latest local news with Rob Hanrahan and Central Pennsylvania's Emmy Award-winning 27 News, the only weekend newscast to deliver more live reports on the stories that affect you. Get tomorrow's forecast with meteorologist Rob Dixon, and catch your team's score and more with John Reppitz on sports. This weekend, stay informed with Rob Hanrahan and an Emmy Award-winning news team. 27 News.
What are you looking for? The best-looking, hardest-working trucks around.
Now's the time to pick out a pickup at your Keystone Chevrolet Geo dealer. We're packing up to $1,500 cash back and $600 down payment assistance for first-time buyers.
Well, that's great, but how about me?
How about up to $1,500 cash back on America's best-selling sport utility vehicle, Chevy's S10 Blazer?
Great-looking truck.
At great-looking prices.
See your Keystone Chevrolet Geo dealer. We've got what you're looking for.
You're watching WHTM-TV, Channel 27.
Frank Effort in New York. A reminder coming up on Wide World of Sports. The U.S. Olympic Cup competition will be continuing here. 133 athletes competing in 5 different venues around the United States, featuring athletes from 13 different nations. And, of course, on Wide World, we will be featuring women's gymnastics. We'll also have the Hoop to Hoop, the national championship of playground basketball, 3-on-3. And if you ever thought you could play this game, well, you'll realize that we have some great basketball players out there playing in those playgrounds. Right now, we're going back to pro bowling in Chris Schenkel in Fresno, California, about 100 miles north of Bakersfield, California, my hometown. Chris?
Okay, thank you very much, Frank. Here in the San Joaquin Valley, Hugh Miller over Bob Handley, 248-209 with 8 strikes. Nelson Burton, ASCO, one of our features over the years.
Thank you, Chris. And this week we have a letter from Sergeant Walter Kennedy, and it goes something like this. Bo, I leave a 10-pin a lot of times, and I throw a great big hook. I need to extend to the extreme left side of the approach, and sometimes I stand on the other person's lane. Is there a limit, or is this legal? Well, it's not illegal to stand anywhere on the approach as long as you're behind the foul line and you don't interfere with another player's shot. So stand anywhere you want on the approach. Now, before we go in the championship game, I'd like to bring in our guest commentator, Randy Peterson. Randy, just a comment. It looks like it's an all-lefty final. You have Salvemini playing the extreme outside line. He just dominated the field, but Hugh Miller looks real good from the inside line. Give me your synopsis of what you think is going to happen and pick me a winner.
Well, I think the scores are going to be pretty high. I think it probably will take 240 or 50 to win. I think it all depends on how Joe performs. I think Huey, he's a veteran. He's won 4 titles. I think he's going to be real tough. So I think it's all going to come down to Joe.
Let me give you some stats then. The tournament leader has won about 70% of the time this year, and Joe Salvemini has beaten a left-hander every single time he's bowled a lefty for the title. So you want to change your pick?
No, I'm going to stay with my horse.
All right, he picks Hugh Miller. Salvemini is going to be very tough, and Chris, we're ready for the action, the final match.
All right, a capacity crowd here at Cedar Lanes. Randy Peterson, many-time champion, California's favorite bachelor, man of fast cars and pretty women, and a great bowling stroke.
Thanks, Chris.
2 left-handers now going for the prize money here. The biggest of it, 18 to the winner, 9,500 to the runner-up. First time today, Joe Salvemini. Okay.
Good start for Salvemini playing the extreme outside line, and I've always seen that's an all or nothing shot, especially in a championship round. Either shoot 240 or 50, as Randy said, or you kill yourself. I think Hugh Miller has a good inside line.
The 9 wouldn't go. Bo, 2 weeks ago, we had a left-handed winner in Earl Anthony.
Earl Anthony won the Seniors Doubles Classic in Las Vegas, then traveled on to St. Louis, where he didn't fare so well in the Seniors Tournament there. As you see the ball of Hugh Miller coming in light on the right-hand lane, leaving a simple spare, the 9.
Hugh's overcome some injuries. He sort of wrecked a shoulder and an arm in a sailboat accident with his dad. But he's happy to be in the final. He's sorry he's missing a cousin's wedding out on the ranch in Great Falls, Montana. His cousin Richard marrying a lovely bride named Jody.
And all the rest of the family in Great Falls for that occasion. They'd like to see a winner right here in Hugh Miller. Hugh keeping a ball around the pocket, and Hugh, as many of you will recall, his first couple years on championship round was 6 wins, no losses, but he only missed 1 spare in that whole time, and since then he's missed a number of spares. One I can think of, the 1379 in Peoria, Illinois, was his downfall in 1986. If he'd happened to start missing spares here, he'd have a lot of trouble with Salvemini.
Hugh defeated Bob Handley 248 to 208. Prior to that, Handley over Dave Arnold 210 to 196, and then in the first game, Bob Handley defeated Marc McDowell 191 to 171.
Salvemini coming in light on the right-hand lane, has a very simple profile, has an open shoulder, short steps, short approach, using a little bit more ball speed, but has a somewhat of an erratic arm swing. Goes inside out, then outside in. Doesn't quite make it up to the pocket, the 3-5-6. Got to guard against chopping the 3-6 off the 5. You know, I looked, Randy, at that arm swing of Joe Salvemini. It's got to be very tough. It's almost a two-piece arm swing. He takes it out, then pulls it back in, then takes it back inside out as he comes through the ball. Very tough under pressure. What do you think?
Well, you know, I think you have a good point there. He has a little bit of movement to his swing, but I think the most important thing is the way he gets it to the bottom of the swing.
And that is the key point. The pivot step at the bottom of the swing has to be inside out.
Joe, who wastes very little time, just as quickly comes back to the settee, and out of his chair in a hurry is Hugh Miller.
The action of the 3-pin, the 3rd pin on the right-hand part of your screen, chopping out the 6. That's the 3rd frame strike of Salvemini. Now, Miller up in the 3rd. I asked Hugh Miller what he felt his biggest improvement was over the years. He says, I'm a lot smarter and I'm a lot more consistent. And this is the first year, Chris, that he's really bowled most of the tournaments. He's usually about 19, 20, 21 tournaments. He's going almost 35 tournaments this year, and that really does make a difference. It keeps you tournament tough.
Very good temperament for any type of competition. This man, this 33-year-old left-hander from Seattle, amazing, Bo. Remember, with his 4 tournament wins, he was 6-0 on television, and his first loss on television not until 86, and now on TV, 4-9.
All the downfall of missing spares. He was no misses in those 6 victories. He's been missing some spares lately. Has cost him some losses. Randy Peterson, we call that, back in St. Louis, a DOA, Billy Idol, dead on arrival. What do you have to say about that?
That's not good. That's not good, Bo.
It's a shame.
He has to get that ball to the right of the 5-pin and slide it over in the 7. A little bit embarrassing and a tough shot for Hugh Miller.
Okay, so it's an open frame for Hugh Miller here in our championship game, and he is trailing by 16.
There's something new coming to you from Budweiser. And if the label turns your head, wait till you taste it. New Bud Dry. The first beer that's both cold filtered for smooth draft taste and dry brewed for no aftertaste. So if you're looking for smooth taste with no aftertaste, turn here. Try Bud Dry.
When you've got your Power Stroke going, nothing's gonna beat you. Introducing Power Stick Antiperspirant. 24-hour protection in just one wide stroke. New Power Stick from Fabergé.
A muffler isn't something you just stick under your car. The wrong one could really hurt your engine performance and fuel economy. Midas quality mufflers are installed by experts and backed by a great guarantee. Ain't nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
This is 34-year-old Joe Salvemini. He is the tournament leader. He has won 3 times, 2 of them from the top seed where he is today.
Boy, and that was a time to really go for the throat. Salvemini with a 16-pin lead, strike up could extend it to 26 over a frustrated Hugh Miller. As you see the parents of Joe Salvemini rooting their son on to victory, hopefully. But he has to convert this 2-7 baby split to maintain his 16-pin lead.
Mary and Ralph Salvemini. Cousins here, aunts here, sister here. All out by Joe, who grew up in the San Francisco area but bowls out of Oklahoma City now.
Joe Salvemini, a good all-around athlete in the San Francisco area, went to Novato High School where he played football, baseball, and played on the golf team. Just sliding between the 2 and 7, but that lonely 2-pin still standing opens the door for Hugh Miller to get right in the match. Just a 4-pin difference in favor of Salvemini. I think, Chris, we're seeing the same thing happen on the left side lane that we saw happen in the McDowell, Handley, Arnold matches earlier. The heat in this building and the outside is allowing that oil to carry down. Now it's carrying down the left side. We don't see the ball breaking sharply to the pocket, and players are beginning to struggle. Need to do something about that. It's too tough a scoring environment.
How can we correct that, or how can they correct that?
Well, as you see Salvemini sliding by the 3-9 spare, opening the door for Hugh Miller, you can correct it by dealing with it in the lane maintenance department. That's the PBA Commissioner Joe Antinora's and Lenny Nicholson, the lane maintenance director's job.
And I'm sure they'll address the situation.
All right, Randy Peterson. Last time Hugh Miller was up on his left-hand lane, left an embarrassing 5-7 split. What went wrong there, and what does he do now?
Well, I think that Huey probably just dead lost that ball right off his hand. It's been hot here all week. I know my hand was sweating all week. He's just got to make sure that he doesn't lose this ball at the bottom of the swing.
He could make a 17-pin lead with a strike.
You can't believe it.
Well, he doesn't expect the same thing. That oil carry down, once again, as we say, it carries down maybe, let's say, 6 inches every shot going towards the pocket after you bowl a game and a half. The break point down there at the back end of the lane, the last 15 feet, does not match the oil pattern in the front part of the lane, and there's not really much you can do about it. You can throw it hard and straight, but you're not going to carry very well.
Hugh in his victory over Bob Handley did shoot a big game, 248 with 8 strikes. But this is for the title. Salvemini with 77 through the 5th. 6th frame.
Well, we can actually come out and do a little session of bowling tips of the week by just filming some of these last games. These spares, these fellas have been leaving the last 3 or 4 weeks as Joe's fiance from Oklahoma City looks on, Kim, rooting for Joe to at least convert this spare and stay in the match. Players have left some weird shots, have had a lot of problems in the last couple of weeks, and obviously really have to work on their spare games to stay in contention.
This is a tournament leader. Earlier we said why he struggled in the past and how that has he come back.
Well, I just had a lot of trouble with injuries the last year and a half, and it was tough. I went to work on some stretching and working out a little bit better, eating a little bit better, and knew I wasn't getting any younger. The ability was there, but it was frustrating. I just kept working hard and got myself back to 100%, and this week it all came together, and so I think it's my time.
Bowling balls are hitting like 14-pounders, or even as the parlance on the PBA Tour goes, like marshmallows back there, because it's just oil almost all the way to the pit area. And those injuries that Salvemini were talking about, he had a pulled hamstring, and then he had a back injury, which has slowed him down the last year and a half, but he says he's 100% now, but he trails by 8 pins.
Now, Hugh Miller, 7th frame, spare working, leading by 8. For Hugh, that's his 2nd strike here in the championship match.
If you look at Hugh Miller's game, he's been around the pocket almost all the time. He left the 9-pin in the 1st frame, 7 in the 2nd, 4-7 in the 3rd. He was just out of the pocket. Then he had that flat 5-7 hit in the 4th, in the pocket in the 5th for a strike, a 7-pin in the 6th, back in the 7th for a strike, and he can take an 18-pin lead if he can double here, 8th frame. Absolutely outstanding shot right there by Hugh Miller as he goes to the wall, carries out the 3-5-6-10. As you see, Salvemini leading by 395 pins. He got off to an early start in the 18-game qualifier, then took over from Bob Benoit halfway through the 24-game match play, Right now, he's in trouble, trails by 18.
Joe Salvemini leaving the 7. Young man who won in Florissant, Missouri. He won in Syracuse, both from the top seed. Then his 3rd victory in Austin, he did it from the 3rd seed. Today, he's tournament leader.
Randy Peterson, you're coming down the line here. You're the tournament leader, a little bit confused, trailing by 19 pins, 9th frame. What goes through your mind?
Well, I'll tell you what, Joe's got to feel pretty lonely out there. He had a great shot all week, and that shot is dissipated. It's gone. And I think just right now he's just going to bite the bullet and just be aggressive and do the best he can.
Let's watch, as is Hugh Miller.
Ninth frame strike by Salvemini.
Now Hugh Miller with a chance to close the door. Last match couldn't do it in the 9th frame. Once again, he has that opportunity for the championship. 9th frame can extend to 29 pins.
7, Hugh Miller, who has 4 titles. He won his first in 1980, his last, the 1984 Quaker State. So 6 years without a win.
He's become a much more consistent player, though. In the last 3 years, he's had a 70% cash rate as he's cashed 17 out of 25 at 87, 15 out of 25 in 88, and 15 out of 22 in 89.
And you think, Bo, he didn't win last year. He earned $61,674.
I think, Chris, you ask any player out here that what thing they would like the most, obviously, is to win as much money in titles, but to feel consistent. It's very frustrating to be a winner one week and then not cash for 2 or 3 weeks. Sooner or later, the non-cashes overtake the wins. And for Hugh Miller, right now, he needs 2 strikes and 3 pins to lock up the tournament.
Seven.
Randy Peterson, you couldn't walk down there and place the ball in the 1-2 pocket any better than Hugh Miller did in the 9th and 10th frames.
Absolutely great shots that Huey threw there.
Didn't get a positive result. Now this is as good a shot as you can throw without all 10 pins going down. And the match is still on. If Hugh Miller strikes on this ball, be 192, will force Joe Salvemini to strike in the 10th and 11th frames and get an 8 count or better on his final shot to take the title. Unbelievable, as it said, Chris. 191.
191. Boy, oh boy.
And actually only missed the pocket 1 time. Now Salvemini needs 2 strikes and 7 to win. Anything less, it's Hugh Miller's title.
There's one of them. With most of his family in attendance here. Pressure is on.
Salvemini has always been a good clutch player. He believes in himself, and this is one of the greatest thrills a young player can have. When you sit at home and you're practicing to come out in the tour, as you see this first good shot in the 10th frame, you put yourself in that situation. I need 2 strikes or 3 strikes to take it all on national television. He's come down to 1 strike and a 7 count. This is it on this shot.
Golly. He's walking practically out of the house. But he comes back, but there is Hugh Miller. It's been 6 years without a victory for Hugh. So it's his 5th title for the 33-year-old bowler from Seattle, Washington, and Montana. Miller shooting a 191. Salvemini shooting a 184. So the Fresno Open champion is Hugh Miller.
Hey, a guy losing his hair can choose between being the man he wants to be
We look great with hair. Do something to save it.
and the man he could become.
Can't you accept nature like everyone else?
Doctors have hair loss treatment programs that are proven to work, and the sooner you see a doctor, the better.
We don't want nature. We want hair.
When you've considered the arguments,
We might look great bald.
and you decide you want hair, there's only one thing to do. See your doctor. Or call this number for more information.
To unlock your body's potential, we proudly offer Soloflex. 24 old-fashioned iron-pumping exercises, each correct in form and balance. All on a simple machine that fits in the corner of your home. For a free brochure, call anytime.
Phil and Laura Gordon, married, one child.
Frosted Flakes, Dad?
No, that's a kid's cereal, honey.
Yeah. How about some all-brand?
Publicly, they claim Kellogg's Frosted Flakes is just a kid's cereal, but these films tell a different story. Experts believe they loved those sweet, crunchy flakes as kids and just never got over them.
I forgot my lunch. What's going on? Nothing. Here, you're mine.
Really?
Oh, my gosh.
It's okay.
Why hide it? Frosted Flakes have the taste adults have grown to love. They're great!
All right, Spalding Wacom, the proprietor here, and his daughter Shelley Cox, the manager, are out on the approach now with the check of $18,000, the silver trophy, to a man that hadn't won in 6 years. Left-hander Hugh Miller of Seattle, Washington, a man who couldn't get to his cousin's wedding on the ranch in Montana, but he is a winner in Fresno, California. See you in 2 weeks.
The Professional Bowlers Spring Tour, brought to you by Scope, the best thing first thing in the morning, and by Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, the last great taste of youth. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, recognized around the world as the leader in sports television.